Everything you think you remember, your childhood, your heartbreaks, even your name, might not be stored inside your brain at all. That sounds impossible, right? Science has told us for decades that memories live in neural pathways, that your brain is like a biological hard drive, saving every experience through connections between neurons. But here's the contradiction. When parts of the brain are removed during surgery, specific memories don't simply vanish. Patients still recall faces, voices, even moments from decades ago. And then there's something even more mysterious. People who've had near-death experiences. While their brains were clinically inactive, they reported vivid, detailed memories of things happening around them, sometimes things they couldn't possibly have seen. So, if your memories aren't inside your brain, where are they? This question doesn't just challenge science, it shakes the foundation of who we think we are. Because if the mind isn't contained within the brain, then maybe you aren't either. Maybe your memories live in something much larger, an invisible field of consciousness that holds every thought, every moment, every possibility. In this video, we'll explore the idea that reality itself might be holographic, that everything you've ever experienced isn't gone or hidden, but stored in a deeper dimension of existence, waiting for you to remember. For most of us, it seems obvious that memories live somewhere inside our heads. After all, when we think back to childhood, it feels like we're pulling those moments from deep within the brain. But the truth might be more mysterious. For nearly a century, scientists have struggled to find exactly where memories are stored. The results have been confusing, even unsettling. One of the first people to challenge this idea was a neuroscientist named Carl Lashley. In the 1920s, he trained rats to run through a maze. Once the rats learned the correct path, he began removing small parts of their brains, expecting their memory of the maze to disappear. To his surprise, no matter which part he removed, the rats could still find their way. Their performance got slower, yes, but the memory itself was never fully erased. This discovery puzzled science for decades. It didn't seem to matter where Lashley looked, he couldn't find the exact location of memory. The results hinted at something radical. The brain might not store memories like files in a computer. Instead, it might work more like an antenna that tunes into something beyond itself. Imagine this for a moment. Instead of holding your memories inside gray matter, your brain could be accessing a vast field of information that surrounds and connects all living things. In this view, memory is not something you keep, it's something you tune into. This idea was later explored by author Michael Talbot, who introduced the concept of a holographic universe. Talbot drew from the work of scientists like Carl Pribram and physicist David Bohm, suggesting that consciousness, matter, and memory are all part of one giant holographic field. In a hologram, every part contains the pattern of the whole. That means even the tiniest piece carries the entire image within it, just at a lower resolution. This could explain why memories are not lost when the brain is damaged, but sometimes recalled in unexpected ways. The brain may not be a storage device at all. It could be a tool for decoding and experiencing the information already embedded in this universal field. Ancient spiritual traditions spoke of something very similar. In Hindu and mystical teachings, there is the idea of the Akashic field, a subtle, invisible record that holds every thought, word, and action that has ever existed. Mystics believed that this field could be accessed through higher states of consciousness or deep meditation. Modern science might simply be rediscovering what ancient wisdom already understood, only using different language. When Talbot described the holographic field, he wasn't just describing a physical theory. He was offering a bridge between two worlds, the measurable and the mystical. If this is true, then our sense of identity changes completely. You're not a mind locked inside a skull. You're part of a living field that remembers everything, a field that continues even after the body is gone. The brain, rather than being the source of memory, could be the receiver, a finely tuned instrument that picks up and translates the vibrations of consciousness into thought and experience. This perspective reshapes how we think about life and death, memory and meaning. It tells us that forgetting may not be real in the way we think it is. Information never disappears. It only shifts in frequency. The mystery that puzzled Lashley might not be a flaw in our understanding of biology. It could be a clue pointing us towards something larger. The idea that reality itself is holographic and that what we call memory is simply our way of touching the infinite record of existence. As scientists kept searching for where memories were stored, one man began to look at the problem differently. His name was Carl Pribram, a neurophysiologist who noticed something strange about how the brain processes information. Instead of finding one specific area that held memory, he saw that memories seemed to be spread throughout the brain in wave-like patterns. Every neuron contributed to the whole picture, similar to how light patterns form a hologram. A hologram is a three-dimensional image created from patterns of light waves. What makes it fascinating is that every small piece of the hologram still contains the entire image. If you cut a holographic photo in half, each half will still show the full picture, just in less detail. Pribram began to realize that the brain might work in a similar way. Instead of storing a complete memory in one spot, it might store interference patterns that can reconstruct the full experience when recalled. This meant that the brain might not be keeping information as data, but as frequencies, vibrations that interact with a larger field. When you remember something, your brain could be decoding these frequencies, translating invisible patterns into vivid pictures, emotions, and sensations. Around the same time, physicist David Bohm was proposing something equally revolutionary. He suggested that reality itself has two layers: the implicate order and the explicate order. The implicate order is the hidden realm where all information exists together, folded into a unified whole. The explicate order is what we perceive, the visible physical world that unfolds from that unseen layer. Bohm's idea matched perfectly with Pribram's observations. If reality is like a cosmic hologram, then the brain might be decoding this holographic field the same way it decodes memories. The mind doesn't just observe reality, it participates in it. Consciousness could be the light that shines through the holographic film, bringing the hidden image to life. For those with a spiritual mindset, this is not just a scientific theory, it mirrors ancient teachings about the nature of existence. Many traditions teach that what we see is only a projection of something deeper. The physical world is the surface, but underneath it lies a vast ocean of consciousness that connects everything. When Bohm described the implicate order, he wasn't far from what mystics called the realm of spirit or the divine matrix. He believed that the physical world is a continuous unfolding of this hidden order, just as thoughts or dreams unfold from the subconscious mind. From this perspective, you are not just living inside the universe, you are participating in its creation. Your brain and consciousness act together like a projector, decoding the deeper reality into the experience you call life. When you remember, imagine, or dream, you are interacting with the same holographic field that gives rise to stars, oceans, and galaxies. You are not a small being trying to understand the universe. You are a fragment of the universe becoming aware of itself. This understanding brings science and spirituality together in a profound way. Science shows us the structure, waves, frequencies, and patterns of information. Spirituality reveals the meaning, that those patterns are expressions of consciousness itself. If Pribram and Bohm were right, then consciousness is not produced by the brain, but is the very force that allows the brain to function. The mind is not a byproduct of matter. Matter is a projection of mind. This changes everything about how we see ourselves. Every thought, emotion, and memory could be part of a vast cosmic dance of frequencies. The light of consciousness passes through this field, decoding and shaping reality in every moment. In this holographic view, the universe is not something happening to you. It is something happening through you. Imagine you are listening to your favorite song on the radio. The music fills the room, yet it is not inside the radio. The device is simply decoding a signal that exists all around you. When you turn the dial, you tune into a specific frequency. Memory might work in the same way. Your brain could be the tuner, while the real archive of your experiences exists in an invisible field that surrounds and connects all life. This view helps explain certain mysteries that traditional neuroscience struggles with. There have been cases where people suffer head injuries but suddenly display savant-like memory or abilities they never had before. It is as if their brain began accessing a different part of that universal signal. Experiments in parapsychology, like those from the Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Lab, also found that human intention could subtly influence random systems, suggesting that consciousness and information might not be limited by distance or the brain itself. Quantum physics supports this idea through the phenomenon of entanglement, where two particles remain connected even when separated by vast distances. Information seems to travel instantly between them, hinting that the universe operates through non-local connections. Memory could function in a similar way, existing as patterns in a shared field rather than isolated structures in the brain. Spiritually, this aligns with ideas of reincarnation, ancestral memory, and intuition. Rather than the soul jumping from body to body, perhaps consciousness retunes itself to new frequencies within the same field of existence. Every life, thought, or emotion might be part of a collective database that we all have access to through resonance. When you heal, meditate, or awaken, you are not erasing memories. You are restoring harmony in your personal frequency, realigning with the greater field that holds every experience you have ever known. The idea that each piece contains the complete image in a hologram has begun to echo across modern physics. Theories in quantum holography suggest that information in the universe can never be lost. Even black holes, once thought to erase everything they consume, are now understood to store that information in subtle holographic patterns along their surface. The universe, in this sense, functions like one enormous holographic projector. If that is true, then everything that exists, including you, contains the full pattern of the cosmos. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is how nature appears to organize itself. We see it in fractals, those repeating geometric patterns found in trees, rivers, lungs, and galaxies. Each small part reflects the design of the larger system. Consciousness might work in the same way. The awareness inside you could be a miniature reflection of the infinite consciousness that sustains the universe. Ancient spiritual texts hinted at this long before science gave it language. The phrase, "as above, so below," is not just mystical poetry. It points to a deeper truth about how reality mirrors itself on every scale. The divine, the source, or the universal consciousness is not somewhere far away. It is enfolded in every part of creation, including your own being. When you feel lost or fragmented, it is easy to believe that something is missing. Yet in a holographic universe, nothing is ever missing. Every part of you already holds the pattern of wholeness. The pain, the joy, the confusion, and the wisdom all belong to the same greater image. Integration, then, is not about becoming whole. It is about remembering that you already are. From a scientific point of view, the holographic model reveals how the universe encodes information. From a spiritual point of view, it shows that you are made of the same light that projects the cosmos itself. This means that every insight, every intuitive knowing, and every spark of creativity is not something you generate from nothing. It is something you uncover from within the infinite field that lives through you. When you begin to see yourself this way, your sense of separation starts to fade. The idea that you are a small being struggling through a vast universe gives way to a deeper realization. You are the universe, temporarily focused into human form, remembering itself one thought, one memory, one heartbeat at a time. If the universe is holographic, then consciousness is not just an observer within it. Consciousness is the very mechanism that reads, decodes, and brings this holographic pattern into experience. Every thought, emotion, and perception becomes a way of collapsing infinite potential into a single moment of reality. You are not looking at the universe from the outside. You are participating in its creation from within. From this view, awareness acts like light shining through a holographic film. The light itself does not change, but what appears depends on how that light interacts with the pattern. The clearer the pattern, the clearer the projection. In human terms, this means that the clarity of your consciousness determines how you experience reality. When your awareness is scattered by fear, guilt, or trauma, the projection becomes distorted. When you cultivate stillness, love, or alignment, the field around you becomes coherent, and life begins to reflect that harmony back to you. Healing, then, is not about fixing a broken brain or personality. It is about retuning your signal within the larger field. Practices like meditation, visualization, sound therapy, or prayer work because they restore coherence to your energy pattern. They don't simply relax the nervous system, they re-establish alignment between your individual consciousness and the universal field of information. When the interference patterns of your mind become organized, your physical and emotional reality follow. This perspective also changes what identity means. You are not a static being with a single life story. You are a frequency range within a vast field of possibilities. In different states of awareness, you can access different layers of that field. That is why déjà vu, intuition, and moments of sudden insight feel so mysterious. They may not be random at all. They might be glimpses of overlapping realities encoded within the same holographic field. This also could mean you are not limited to one timeline or identity. The consciousness that experiences life through you is the same consciousness that experiences life through all beings. Every lifetime, every relationship, every lesson is a unique expression of that same infinite awareness exploring itself through countless forms. Science gives structure to this idea, showing that information is never lost and that energy simply transforms. Spirituality gives it meaning, reminding us that transformation is not about becoming something new, but remembering what we already are. When you understand yourself as a field of consciousness rather than a fixed identity, you begin to live differently. You stop fighting your experiences and start decoding them. You stop chasing wholeness outside yourself and begin restoring clarity within. The holographic model reminds us that everything we seek, peace, healing, understanding, is already imprinted within the field of who we are. It only waits for our awareness to bring it into focus. If your memories are not stored inside your brain, then where do they live? The answer, perhaps, is everywhere. Every thought you have ever had, every experience you have ever lived, could still exist as a pattern within the vast holographic field that connects all things. Memory, identity, and consciousness are not trapped in flesh and bone. They are woven into the very fabric of reality itself. Science helps us see how this might work. It shows that energy and information are never truly lost. They only change form, shifting between visible and invisible states. Spiritual wisdom gives this a deeper meaning. It tells us that remembrance is not only about the past, but about awakening to the infinite intelligence that has always been within you. The holographic model bridges these two worlds. It shows that the inner and outer, the personal and the universal, are not separate. Your mind is not merely recalling experiences, it is decoding the universe itself. Every time you remember love, every time you forgive, every time you awaken to a deeper truth, you are reorganizing the very patterns that shape your reality. To remember who you are is not to dig through old memories or chase spiritual enlightenment somewhere far away. It is to tune yourself to coherence, to the frequency of truth that has always been present. The universe is not outside of you. It is you, remembering itself through your awareness, through your choices, through your light. In the end, the journey of awakening is not about going higher or farther. It is about unfolding inward toward the infinite depth that was already within you all along. Because in a holographic reality, nothing is ever truly lost. It is only waiting for you to remember.